When building a Pokemon team, a lot of people think offense is all you need. You get a bunch of hard-hitting, fast Mons like Garchomp or Sneasler who are to come out and do a lot of damage. Well, there's a secondary class of Pokemon that sometimes don't get the love that everyone else thinks. I, of course, am referring to the support Pokemon. These Pokemon can help set up your main damage dealers, like those Garchomps and Sneaslers, to do a lot of damage and hit really hard. Well, sometimes support Pokemon don't get the love they deserve. They truly don't. They're sometimes underappreciated due to their less flashy natures. However, today, I'm going to tell you my top five Pokemon champions support Pokemon that you should have on your team, especially on your team. So go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, and let's jump in with number 5. Coming in at number 5 is the big bird himself, Pelipper from Gen 3. Pelipper's ability Drizzle allows him to set up the rain on his switch-in, which makes him a very common use for a lot of rain teams. A lot of people like to run Pelipper for that exact reason. Some key moves that he gets that are especially powerful would be Tailwind, which helps you with speed, which is always important. Some nice moves that he gets to help lower opponent's speeds is Icy Wind, which can be really, really helpful. And then a lesser one that maybe not as many people know, which is Wide Guard, which, when dealing with the current Rock Slide meta and a lot of hard-hitting Mons using Rock Slide, Wide Guard's actually a really solid option to have. Looking at Pelipper's stats, they're not anything insane that jumps off the board, but 100 defense and 60 HP really makes it a solid physical bulky Mon, and 95 special attack is nothing to sleep at either, enabling it to really be able to do some solid damage with ice and water type coverage, which are pretty common to be run on Pelipper. So honestly, Pelipper, solid Pokemon. It's not necessarily your top option for damage dealing, but as far as support Pokemon goes, well, Pelipper's bulk and his little utility makes him a pretty handy pick, especially for rain teams. Jumping in at number 4 is Talonflame, the bird, a soaring fire flying type from Gen 6. Well, Talonflame possesses a very unique ability to it of Gale Wings, which when at full HP means flying type moves all move first. So if Talonflame is fully healthy, a flying type move is basically a priority move, which makes it very handy. Tailwind, of course, being a flying type move, makes this Pokemon have phenomenal Tailwind ability on turn 1. One move that it gets that I run on my teams is Quick Guard. Quick Guard allows you to block priority moves if an opponent uses them. So if an opponent clicks Fake Out and you're as an Incineroar and you have Talonflame and you click it first, you will move first. Another couple of handy moves it gets is Sunny Day, which allows it to bring up the sun, which it's a fire flying type. So a lot of people will run a couple of like setup moves or kind of support moves, and maybe they'll run like a damage dealing move. Well, Sunny Day can be really helpful to set up your sun team if you're needing a little extra kick. Maybe you're running that Mega Charizard Y and you need another way to set up the sun. That's an option. Also gets Taunt, which basically locks a Pokemon out of using only damage dealing moves. So Taunt, another solid ability that could really come in handy. Looking at Talonflame's stats, there's nothing crazy that jumps out at you necessarily. But hey, 126 speed, that's nothing to laugh about. It outspeeds Sneasler at run at max speed, which enables you with Quick Guard to block all Fake Out moves. With Sneasler being the fastest Fake Out Mon, you essentially, with Talonflame, can basically get a free no Fake Out move as long as your opponent doesn't know you're clicking it. But I would say Talonflame, very solid Pokemon, and like I said, my personal gen bird or parent bird of all the generations is Talonflame. So who's number 3? Well, let's jump into it then. Jumping in at number 3 is the fairy type Clefable. Now I know what you're thinking, a fairy type? I think Clefable can be run a couple of different ways, and if we're being completely honest with ourselves, Clefable is by no means a single way. Clefable normally with its abilities has Unaware or Magic Guard. So Unaware basically means it can ignore all stat changes. So if an opponent gets the +2/+2 with a Pokemon and then they take a hit, it'll be like they're 0/0 for them. Magic Guard, which means you only take damage from attacking moves. So you can't be burned, you can't have certain other effects happen to you. Or what I would say, which makes Clefable very valuable, is in Pokemon Champions, it's Mega Clefable. Why is Mega Clefable really, really good? I think Mega Clefable can double as an attacking Pokemon, but especially thanks to its ability, Magic Bounce. So if your opponent's using Taunt or trying to use different moves to slow you down, Magic Bounce can be a really good ability to have that can really come in and save your skin if you're struggling. Once it Mega Evolves, it gains a Flying type, which, hey, if you're struggling with Earthquake, Garchomp, bye-bye, still does pick up that Rock weakness, but it makes it really good. Clefable packs a ton of support moves that really make this thing really solid. Has the likes of Follow Me, which basically draws all moves into it. Life Dew, which will restore its HP and the opponent's and its allies' HP 25%. It gets Rain Dance and Sunny Day, so again, you need extra weatherways. There you go. It gets both Light Screen and Reflect, which increases your defense and makes you even bulkier. And Helping Hand. Helping Hand, of course, helps boost the damage when used on an allied Pokemon. Looking at Mega Clefable stats are pretty solid on that special defense and even that main defense. It's a pretty bulky Pokemon with solid 135 attack. It can do some solid damage. So it really is one of those runs into scenarios kind of Pokemon, as it can can hit like a truck, or you can run it bulkier and hey, it can still be a really solid support Pokemon with all those different abilities packed in one. Coming in at number 2 is probably no surprise, Sinestcha. When I was actually making this list, I almost forgot to put Sinestcha on the list. I was glad I didn't, because this has been one of the top used Pokemon of Champions the first couple of weeks it's been out. Starting with its ability, Hospitality. It basically, when it comes in, can heal an allied Pokemon for 25% healing, which is crazy on switch-in. So you can switch it in and out and get plenty of healing. Its other ability is Heat Proof, which helps negate its Fire-type weakness as a Grass Ghost type, but most people are running Hospitality to get that big healing back. Key moves, well, remember Life Dew where it heals 25%? Well, it gets Life Dew, does a lot of healing. It gets Trick Room, which makes it really popular among the Trick Room teams. Rage Powders like Follow Me, where it basically redirects Pokemon, however Grass types are unaffected by that. Gets Strength Stab, which can heal itself and lower attack. And then Matcha Gotcha. And Matcha Gotcha is a very, very underrated ability, or not very underrated ability, but it's a fun little ability here. Or not ability, move. It's a spread move, so it hits both targets. It has a 20% chance to burn, and it also restores the user's HP by half the damage dealt. So not only does it have a 20% chance to burn, which can really help against physical attackers, it heals itself half of the damage it uses. So being able to hit both Pokemon means it's going to heal from both Pokemon. Sinestcha's stats are also kind of solid. It's got some okay bulk with 106 on the defensive side, and even 80 special defense isn't anything to laugh at. So Sinestcha will hang around a little bit. Its 121 special attack with Matcha Gotcha makes it a really solid attacking option if you need it late game. And with it being base 70 speed, it kind of falls in like that middle speed tier where it's not going to like thrive under Trick Room, but hey, if your opponent sets up a Tailwind and then you get a Trick Room up, it can still do it can pretty much do a pretty solid work. So Sinestcha jumps in at number 2 on my list. And finally, we'll get to number 1 on my list. And again, you are more than welcome to disagree. Feel free to let me know in the comments. These are my top 5. These are my thoughts. There's plenty of other Pokemon in my mind, like Mousehold, for example, that could totally come into play here. But this is who I wanted to select at number 1. And here it is. Coming in at number 1 is a Pokemon that's been near and dear to my heart, and honestly has been in a lot of my teams for a long time, is Whimsicott. Whimsicott is a grass and fairy type Pokemon with the ability Prankster, which basically means any like non-damaging moves get a plus priority. So Prankster is a very underutilized Pokemon, or very underutilized ability that a lot of people will like. Sableye also gets this ability, and a couple of others as well. I think Riolu, oddly enough, of all Pokemon. But Whimsicott gets access to plenty, and I mean plenty, of support moves that really help build your team. Encore, which means you can lock an opponent into a single move. If they use Protect one turn, well, you can turn around and Encore them and lock them right back in. Another Tailwind setter, plus priority. Tailwind, again, speed control. We say it all the time. I say it all the time in all these videos. It's key. It gets access to Taunt, so denies that as well. It does get Sunny Day. Now, obviously, being a grass type, this can kind of hurt us, Whimsicott. But hey, if your opponent is running a sand or rain team, you want to set up the sun and hurt them, it's not bad. And yes, I had to double check to make sure, but yes, Whimsicott gets Trick Room. So, you could use this as a way if you want to guess that your opponent's going to set up a Trick Room, you can turn it on and off yourself. Now, it still has the negative priority, so it's still not going to go first, but having a Pokemon that has Trick Room, being able to turn off an opponent's Trick Room, having the ability to turn off an opponent's Trick Room when you have Trick Room or you might struggle under Trick Room is kind of an underrated stat. Looking at Whimsicott's stats, they're nothing crazy to jump off at the page, but it has solid defenses with 60 HP, 85 defense, and 75 special defense. Nothing insane, but 116 speed's nothing to laugh at. And honestly, with the Prankster and that speed, kind of runs all you need. So that is kind of my top 10 support Pokemon of Pokemon Champions. Again, you might have some other opinions. You might think some other Pokemon are better than others. Why don't you let me know down below. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video.